Hey everyone, so we're here at Laguna Orthopedic Rehab, and what we're going to go through is probably one of the most important stretches that you can do for the function and the mobility of your body. It's called the couch stretch. Now, you've probably seen this before or heard this before, but what you want to do is you want to get your knee, you want to place that into the corner of the wall with your shin and your foot pointing upwards. You want to bring your other leg up just in front into sort of a high kneeling position. And then depending on how flexible you are through the front of these hips, keeping your back straight, we want to try and extend up through the hip as far as you feel comfortable. Now it can be quite a brutal stretch, so you might find the first time that you do it, you may not be able to get completely vertical and feel comfortable here. You might find that you'll get stuck halfway, which is completely understandable. So wherever your position of restriction is, just comfortably get into that shape. Make sure you can breathe. If you can't breathe and you've gone too far back, you need to find a position where you can breathe relatively comfortably if there is one. Making sure that your bottom is squeezed and coming up to as far back as you feel comfortable going. What we'd always recommend is wherever it feels tight, and it'll probably feel tight sort of at the hip crease, maybe a bit above and below, just make sure that you tense up those areas for a couple of seconds. Give it a squeeze, tense up everything through your hip for about 5 seconds. Then relax. By doing this, you might find that it just feeds a tiny little bit more slack into the front of your hip and you can come up a little bit further. So this stretch is very important to do because it's essentially the anti-sitting stretch. In today's world, we spend so much time in a shortened hip position. The front of that hip just doesn't get opened up as much as it probably needs to. And as a consequence, this area just becomes so tight. It's in a bit of a valuable spot as well because the function of your hip has direct consequences to your lower back and also the tissues lower down through your thigh, through to your knee. So if we can find a way to open up the front of the hip, feed some slack to these areas, not only are we freeing up the hip obviously, but we're sort of potentially improving the function of so many sort of low back problems and knee problems that are very common in people who are athletic or just regular people getting by. So as I said, it's one of the most important stretches to practice. It isn't always comfortable to start with. If you find this position is just too hard to get into, you can do it on a bench. You can have this back knee up into a chair or a couch, as the name implies, still with this front foot on the ground. And it just takes a bit of the tension off the hip. So wherever your entry point is, give it a good go. Practice it for about a minute or two each side if you can tolerate it. Make sure that you're breathing and then try and enjoy it as much as you can. So see how you go, let us know how you go, and we'll see you next time. Bye.